Well, we're talking about my favorite person on the internet yet again, and that is Neon.
I will whip you!
I feel like now I am milking Neon more than I milked Logan and Jake Paul 4 to 5 years ago. I would cover every little bit of micro drama, them screaming Walmart on the stage to insult KSI. And also, how can I forget the terrible, terrible films that Logan Paul starred in?
Don't worry, babe. It's just me. Do you have any almond milk?
But that well has ran dry. That cow has been milked. So I'm now talking about Neon because I swear to God, this guy cannot stay out of drama for more than 5 minutes. Now, I understand that there is a financial reason behind that. There is a method to the madness, you know, the Joker smiling in the mirror. Neon is someone I'd like to compare very closely to Nikocado Avocado. Now, you compare pictures of the two of them. Their BMI, their body mass index, is probably a little bit different. So what's the similarity? These are two people that are hated online more than loved, and they know that, and they revel in that, because they know if they actually clean up their act and stop basically being failed trolls, their audience will dissipate. Because even though people despise Nikocado Avocado and they hate Neon a million times more, they know that if they keep the facade up, the act up of being just a complete +1 intelligence idiot, they will get a lot of money. Because with every 1,000 insults they get, they'll probably get the occasional person go, I'll give him a little bit of money. I want to see how far this train goes before it derails. Now, last video, I talked about Neon filming in public in Dubai, which is a big no-no. You cannot film in public there. He did it, basically kept filming, and then he was arrested. So you would think after being arrested, after being told off, you know what? I'm just going to go back to America. I'm going to stream and do some normal content. Maybe I do a wholesome little cooking stream. Maybe I play, I don't know, Fortress Craft or something. By the way, if anyone remembers the game Fortress Craft, I have no idea why that came into my head, but that is an OG game. That was basically Minecraft before Minecraft on the Xbox, and it made an absolute killing, even though the game was, it was basically just creative mode. It had no survival aspect at all. But on the Xbox, beggars could not be choosers. That is until Minecraft actually came out on the Xbox. So obviously, after the Dubai incident, Neon returned back to America. Now, America is a very different country. You can film in public. There is no rule or law against that. So how does he break the law again? By filming something he shouldn't. Now, to cut a long story short, yes, I am going to be talking about the same video Critical did, the high-speed chase, which was very bad, very, very naughty. But since then, there have been other developments. And also, I wanted to talk about some of the people that Neon has also been involved with recently. Now, Neon needs no introduction. He is one of the top 10 streamers on Kick, which is basically like getting one of those like Razzie Awards when you release an absolutely terrible film. And one thing that's really interesting about Neon is whenever he gets knocked down, he does not ever seem to learn his lesson. I mean, one of the first videos where I talked about Neon, he was like, you know, chewing out this kid, screaming at him, making like a bunch of like sexual references to him. And obviously that was really bad. And he couldn't worm his way out of that, even though it's probably pretty good clickbaiting. He did actually do an apology. But after that, he just went back to streaming anyway. Like I said, though, Neon is this type of streamer, this new generation of streamer that knows they're controversial, knows they're not liked, but they genuinely don't care, because to some people, the essence of fame, it's like an Estus flask in Dark Souls. You cannot stop huffing it. Like I said, Neon streams on Kick, and Kick really does seem to be like the Wild West for streamers right now.
Make your peace. Reckon it's just you and me, Arthur.
I feel like they are the complete opposite of Twitch. I feel like Twitch has become so stringent in certain rules and making exceptions for other people that Kick was almost birthed as the antithesis of that. If Twitch is the white soapstone summon, then Kick is definitely the red soapstone summon. Actually, no. That's a bad comparison. Kick is the purple soapstone summon. You know the mad phantoms that would just kill absolutely anyone when they invaded you in Dark Souls 3? That is actually a very good analogy for Kick. Now, one of the reasons why Kick is so successful is because Twitch, their biggest competitor, outright banned gambling streams, which is pretty surprising because women do gamble as well. So not really sure why they didn't make an exception there. And usually if you go onto Kick and it isn't Neon streaming or maybe XQC streaming like 1 day a week to fulfill his contract, it usually will be someone doing, you know, crypto gambling. Now, there are loads of these crypto gambling sites, like for example, Roobet, where you're not using real money, you're using crypto, but to get the crypto, you need real money. So it's almost like building a barrier in the way to make it legal. Roobet, for example, you can't even get over here in the UK. I'm not sure how it is in America. I know some US states just flat out ban online gambling in any forms, but obviously you can get around that with a VPN, which is why today's video is not sponsored by any VPN. I know some of you, as soon as you heard me say that, you got ready to like double tap on your phone or just skip this entire segment. I don't blame you. I feel like I've got a sixth sense for it. One of the biggest online gambling sites is Stake. Now they have mega money to the point that they're even sponsoring Drake to do streams, which were pretty awkward at best.
Oh my God. Yes. I'm sorry.
Now, Kick itself is formed by many people that basically owned Stake. For example, a third of Kick is owned by Ed Craven, who's the co-founder of Stake. And then you have people a little bit further down the pyramid, like Trainwrecks, who is a advisory non-ownership role for Kick. Basically, it just means he gets to play a lot of slots and get money for it.
I've been sitting here for 8 days, 12-hour streams, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Everyone else is happy on every other machine, hitting big. I've shown loyalty to you, and you just spit in my face.
Basically, long story short, very safe to say that Kick as a streaming platform would not exist without Stake. Now, there is a very big trend on Kick at the minute. Like I said, a lot of degenerates do flock to the website because they can get away with things that other platforms would probably outright ban you for, unless you were a woman. And I like to call this crime casting. Now, recording yourself doing something illegal is not new, but I feel one of the reasons why Kick kind of congregates all this degeneracy is because they are so lax on handing out bans. But that being said, Kick have handed out what seems to be permanent bans for people that are just being absolute morons. Like, for example, this one kid called Kizzy, he'd basically walk around touching people's food because that's hilarious. Lamau. I am lamauing right now. W's in the chat.
Put your hand in my food again, and I'm throwing all of your phones. Do not do that. You don't do that to people.
Who do you think you are? Who do you think you are?
Stop filming me.
Touch my phone, I'm gonna actually do something
What are you
about
gonna
it.
beat me up? How old are you? 5?
And he did that about 4 weeks ago. And as of recording, his Kick account right now is still down. So it looks like that ban was actually permanent. But I still do feel you have people like Neon that bring so much traction to the site. They should usually get banned. But then the staff probably realized, okay, he is bringing in a lot of views. He's bringing in a lot of traction. We kind of need that right now. So let's make him do an apology video. Let's give him a little one-day ban. Another example, not related to Neon, surprisingly, is this one streamer on Kick who was basically drunk driving. Now, you're probably thinking, how can you prove that he was actually drink driving? Do you have a breathalyzer? Did you do a swab test? I don't think so. Now, I don't want to give this guy any more attention than he deserves, but I went on his account to go check if he was banned to hold up my argument, and nope, absolutely no ban for this guy whatsoever. The thing is that makes me second guess everything nowadays is I know most streamers that blow up like within the past year or two, they clickbait, they clip farm. They do a huge performance, a huge React Andy on stream. I've done it before. Like, I get donations and stuff on stream, and I'll probably act a little bit more tilted than I actually am. It's normal, and I think people shouldn't be scared about talking about it. I think it's a totally normal thing to address. You know, anyone that watches my streams, for example, that's over the age of like 10 years old, they probably do realize, okay, he's probably playing it up a little bit. But that being said, the level of clip farming and clip baiting I see on Kick, I actually would not be surprised if the guy who was drink driving with a bottle of vodka was actually just drinking water out of an empty vodka bottle to clickbait. That is the Dante levels of Inferno, like the 7th, 8th, 9th circle of hell that these people will go to get any kind of exposure, even faking themselves breaking the law, hoping people share it on like Reddit and stuff so it blows up and they get exposure. Because again, to people like this, any news is good news. Aiden Ross is another good example of that, one of the biggest streamers on Kick. I do remember one specific clip where he walked out of the room, came back, and then he's acting all hyper, like rubbing his nose, basically implying he did a certain class A substance.
I know, it.
But because people on Kick clickbait so much, I genuinely am more leaning onto the fact that he's faking taking drugs, hoping that people clip farm it and clickbait it so it goes viral and he gets more, you know, recognition. There have been loads and loads of deep dives on certain Kick streamers. Like, for example, something about Chicken. He did a very good deep dive to catch a Kick predator, where you had this one guy who was basically, you know, preying on people live.
Oh my god, my just like, ow, what the hell?
Yo, like, I mean, like, why are they not more out is the real question. Wait, listen, how old are you? I'm 19.
Oh, I'm 16.
You said 18?
Yeah.
Showing his phone gallery on stream, which would like contain, you know, sometimes nudes of people. Like, he'd get people to expose themselves live so he could record it and then post it in his like Discord channel as like some kind of weird brag. And also keep in mind, a lot of those people were also underage. Now, that streamer Riot thankfully got an actual permanent ban. probably because the video that Chicken's made exposing him is sitting on around 4 million views now, so it's not really something that could have been ignored. Another example of a Kick streamer being an absolute moron is Johnny Somali. Now, this guy has been indicted more than a Dark Souls player that is actually playing the game as it's intended. Can you tell I've been playing Dark Souls recently, by the way? I'm making a reference like every 2 minutes. Now, Johnny is a streamer that likes to travel around the world, see the 8 wonders, the Eiffel Tower, King Kong. Wait, wasn't that? And a lot of people do that. A lot of people travel the world. I remember seeing a couple weeks ago a Ryan Trahan video, who's a very wholesome Chungus channel. And he was just, you know, sleeping in different sleep pods at the airport and rating them, you know, traveling around the world on a business expense. Very wholesome content. Another good example of someone traveling around the world that makes very wholesome content. Vagrant Holiday. This guy will travel around the world, only basically spending money on the flight and bare essentials like multivitamins and maybe just a whole baguette. And then he'll sleep in the woods and stuff and like find abandoned houses and explore. But what Johnny Somali does is traveling around the world, but basically just being an absolute asshole to every single person he meets. Now, the funny thing is about Johnny Somali, countries actually seem to be clapping back because a couple countries have actually ended up flat out banning him. I'm pretty sure he's got more notoriety than Syndrome from The Incredibles. Most recently, he was actually banned from Japan for just being an absolute douchebag.
Yamaguchi Gumi niggas, tell them what's up.
And then after that, he was banned from Israel for apparently sexually harassing a woman during a Tel Aviv protest.
Oh, you a bad I swear to God.
After which he received one of the world's shortest suspensions known to man and was basically back to streaming, you know, a little bit later. And within a day of his Kick suspension, he actually got into an altercation where someone put him in a little bit of a chokehold. I can't show the clip because it will probably get the video age restricted, but just imagine the dirtiest TF2 spy backstab, and it was pretty much like that. And the funny thing is, he was actually suspended on Kick at the time, so he was streaming on Rumble, which is another website that is, it's kind of like an alt Twitch site. It is really interesting to watch people like Johnny Somali and a lot of other like, you know, like crime baiting people, because I feel like to go around in public and be an asshole, it almost is. It's a little bit of a superpower because you genuinely just do not care how other people think around you. It is the complete opposite of someone that's, you know, empathetic, sympathetic, more of an introvert where you overthink how people are going to think about you. You just don't care. You're using that superpower for the most malicious, evil way possible. And unfortunately, what happens with so many of these streamers and these people that are just assholes in public, you end up burning that bridge of goodwill so incredibly quickly. I do feel that Kick has this kind of spinning plate situation where they know if they have controversial people, it will bring in more viewership, and then probably more people will end up going over to Stake in the process. But at the same time, if they have someone that's too controversial, they need a ban. And that's why Neon is so interesting, because he always borders this fine line, because he does so much irredeemable shit, but it's not the worst. It's not, you know, for example, that Riot guy who has like pictures of underage people naked on his phone. Neon's never done that. So he can't be banned, right? Obviously, everyone's now aware of the deal that Kick had with XQC, where he got $100 million, which was, you know, advertised as being $100 million, which is a lot of money. But I think it's came to light recently that most of that money, or at least a huge chunk of it, was actually shares in Kick. It wasn't just a direct transaction, but they wanted it to be spread around that it was 100 million to make it look like, wow, they've got a lot of money to play with. And then obviously when XQC booted up his stream, one of the first things he did on the contract was just watch the entirety of The Dark Knight. And then he basically got told by the mods, you can't do that. You can't just watch an entire film with chat and not add anything. That is a huge DMCA and possible lawsuit. I really wish I could reach the point as a monolithic streamer where I don't even have to like make or post any content. I could just put on the entirety of Oppenheimer and just have chat watch it like it's some kind of like pseudo daycare. Also, I do want to point out in that Dark Knight clip video, it is old. I know I'm bringing up something from like, you know, basically a year ago, but I do find it kind of funny that the mods only told him to stop when he was over halfway through a 3-hour film. Now, back to the main course. Neon streaming with another Kick streamer, Squeeze, where they're just speeding down the highway, clearly breaking the law like absolute degenerates. And as of recording this video, I have checked Neon's Kick account. It is still fully up and running. Apparently, he wasn't even told off for being naughty. I imagine he was sat down and he was like, okay, you speeding? That's kind of bad. But like, you know, it's like playing GTA, right? Like we all go past the red lights sometimes, you know? It's okay. Just don't do it again. Now, I do want to focus a little bit on Squeeze because Neon is sat there being a React and he'd be like, whoa, we're going so fast. Oh my God. Whoa. You know what the best thing is about that as well? I have seen on like TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram Reels clips of Neon sat with this guy speeding, and the footage, even though he's going like well over the speed limit, that's apparently still not engaging enough content, and the clippers are worried that people are going to scroll past anyway. So you will have like the top clip be Neon speeding down the highway, and the clip below will just be like GTA gameplay of another car speeding, or it's Subway Surfers. It's usually always Subway Surfers. Now, Squeeze, the guy sat next to Neon, that isn't his real name. That's like a little anonymous way we're going to refer to him as. Squeeze is basically someone who records himself driving down highways incredibly quickly. Plot twist, it's usually above the legal limit. Now, a lot of you will probably come into his defense saying, well, that's probably just because you don't have a car, sweetie. I can drive. I got my license at like 18, but if I got behind the wheel of a car now, I would probably run someone over. Now, the funny thing is about this Squeeze guy, he might have realized that the ban hammer was coming for him, so he's almost like teamed up with Neon to get some kind of immunity, because anything Neon does, the most he gets banned for is basically a day. So it's almost like Neon is this complete, you know, -1 IQ moron, but he's like a ban evasion shield. Now, I do want to say Squeeze is making an absolute hustle off this as well, off this whole situation. Most people would probably keep their heads down, you know, put their head in the sand for a little bit, wait for it to all die down until, you know, the live stream fails, subreddit just ends up posting Forza again or something. But instead, he has started to release merch. This is a limited drop. It'll only be available until the end of the week. And there you've got a picture of Neon. I'm very sure this guy is the definition of graphic design is my passion. Wait, is he selling them as stickers? Okay, that's actually kind of funny. Now, Squeeze also posts a lot of Instagram stories. I'll show some here. And it's really weird because he has a decently sized audience, and he usually promotes, you know, this like cheap crap that you can buy and just like really weird plugs. So he's clearly someone that's proud of what he does. He's proud of the reputation he's got for like frequently breaking the law. And I know I'm being the old man sat in my rocking chair waving my little walking stick right now, being, you shouldn't do that. You're breaking the law. That's very naughty. I know I'm giving off that kind of old man boomer energy, but it is illegal. And more importantly, with situations like this, they usually don't stop until there is a very serious collision, and then the tears come out, and then it's, oh, I shouldn't have done this, I'm so sorry. You know, if he keeps breaking the law and going well over the speed limit for clip farming content and no one gets hurt in their lifetime, very low chance of that happening. But fair enough, congratulations, you played on the slot machine and you won, which is something Kick very, very much likes at the minute. But obviously going over the limit, there's a high chance that, you know, you have some kind of collision, you could hit someone, there could be a very serious injury, maybe even a fatality. This is coming from someone that hasn't drove a car in like 8 years, by the way, but I remember in the UK, you had these public service announcements, these PSAs called Think, that made you basically become more aware of like speeding and the dangers of it. And I feel like it's affected me a bit because I feel like very personal talking about this topic, because some of the ads you would see were absolutely horrible. I remember this one advert of a guy trying to sleep at night, and then he looks and he sees like the body of a child basically blocking his door. And this is like a kid he accidentally ran over years ago, and it's basically trying to tell you that kid now lives like rent-free in his head. That is not the right word I should have said for that, but it's technically the truth. The kid basically lives rent-free in his head because he just can't get over the trauma. I also remember this as a kid as well. A lot of areas you go around in the UK, like residential areas, usually you can only drive around 30 miles an hour, which is like agonizingly slow. But that's because they did studies around it, and they basically found out that if you hit someone when going 30 miles an hour, there's like an 80% chance that they'll live. Another thing to point out as well with Squeeze, like with the situation with Neon and many other clips that he posts, they're not actually his car. It's usually the other person sat in the passenger seat, or a car that's basically loaned out.
I just realized, like, you know, doing long-term rentals is just a way better route.
Driving down a motorway incredibly quickly is probably fun. It probably puts some hairs on your chest. You get, you know, the little Spider-Man goosebumps. But again, just like, I don't know, bro, just go load up GTA 4 and do a street race with Brucey or something. Now, obviously, a lot of street racers, they make a lot of money through merchandise and sponsorships, which is exactly what Squeeze is doing. The main problem I have with this, though, is most of the promos that Squeeze is doing are just like, you know, basically random scammers that he's selling Instagram promos to. You know those gimmick accounts that just post like the most inane, boring content and it juices, and then randomly they'll start selling like, you know, like a lava lamp or sex chocolate or something? They're being paid to do that. Like I actually get DMs on my Twitter of people saying, can you promote this Duolingo for me? We'll pay you $20. It's good money. It's a lot of money. Now, there was an accident at the end of the stream, and Squeeze quickly fled the scene, which is pretty funny because if anything, it draws parallels to another situation I talked about a couple weeks ago with HS Tiki Toki driving this car incredibly high speeds, and then he crashed the car, and then he basically abandoned his mate, General G, and then fled to Dubai and did a music video about it. Squeeze then quickly did an Instagram follow-up story saying, damn, bro, this shit with shock, and now somebody hitting into the back of me. I think I'm done linking up with mad cars that don't know how to drive. This is why I don't do this. And then basically just shows, you know, injury on the bumper. It's nothing severe, but again, it could have ended up being incredibly worse. It could have ended up being a flat-out tailspin. It wasn't a hit and run. We know who hit us, and he took off with us. No cops were called, not a hit and run. I also want to give credit to H3H3's team there on the podcast because they actually managed to pull the Instagram stories before Squeeze deleted them, because at the time of recording this video, it's all been nuked. It's all been a big cover-up. Now, thankfully, Squeeze, the camera crew, and Neon were safe. Just a little scratch on the rear bumper. The same can't be said for the other car. I can't show the video because every single video I find quickly gets taken down. But this is a screenshot of the airbags being put up. It is not a good sight. They definitely took the brunt of the force a lot worse. I think this is a big problem with like the whole streaming culture, and it's very easy to blame Kick, and Kick do kind of perpetuate it a fair bit. But a lot of these streamers do feel like they're absolutely invincible, because guaranteed Neon after that stream would probably just think, bro, the clips, everyone's gonna be clipping this on TikTok, like we're gonna blow up, and he wouldn't feel like he's done anything wrong. I mean, he was just a passenger in, you know, another incident. But again, Neon is that rare example of not one thing he's done that's ban worthy, but I feel like accumulatively it is ban worthy. But the reason why he will never be banned until he does something on the level of that Riot streamer who's basically exposed for having nudes on his phone was doing.
I'm 16.
You said 18?
Is because he is Kick's top 10 streamer. So unfortunately, I've made, you know, this incredibly long video talking into detail of a lot of degeneracy on Kick, but people like Neon, until they do something really out of pocket, which to be fair, he's already done multiple times, he will never get banned. He is Kick's cash cow, and it's going to be a vicious cycle that constantly repeats. Every couple of weeks, Neon will get dragged into doing something or performing something that's just outrageous, and most people will be banned for it. Critical will make an 8-minute video. I'll make an overly long video explaining like what the definition of streaming is to pad out the video, but nothing will change. And the funny thing is about this whole Neon situation is after this car crash, he got banned for a day. He got literally a day ban, which out of all people, Aiden Ross actually took to stream, and Aiden Ross of all people was actually saying, this is stupid. Why does he only get a day ban? It wouldn't surprise me if Neon probably got drunk that night to celebrate and then basically dealt with the hangover the next day while he was having the ban, because it's like him getting a ban is basically a day off. But yeah, Aiden basically went off on him, basically showing how, you know, other people got a week ban for what he says to be, you know, less impactful things, but Neon only got a day.
Neon got a 1-day ban from this, and it's ridiculous. Cheezer got a week ban, Sweater got a week ban, and Convy got a week ban for something not as nearly as crazy as this.
I really think it is a sign that the times are changing, that I'm agreeing with Aiden Ross. I do also like how, like, his IQ is so low that he was like, I don't fuck with this guy. It was kind of entertaining though. I did watch it.
Guys, do I fuck with what he does? No, but like, it's entertaining. I was watching it last night, for example.
But yeah, overall, what's the moral of the story? I've voided my Kick contract.